Welcome in, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good December. Things are going good. You're not getting too chilly. Question for everyone. When is it time to actually throw something away for your collection? In particular, when something's broken and you're like, oh, I'll get around to fixing it. And, I've got some couple Game Gears laying around that I need to recap. I'll get to those eventually. I've got some original Xboxes that probably should be recapped. I'll get to those eventually. Because you need a lot of working space for those, and I've got to do some straightening up and cleaning up and getting rid of some stuff. But what made me think of this question is this controller right here. This is a third-party wired Xbox One or Series X or Series controller, I guess I should say, and it lights up. You can control the lights from the back. But this one broke. I was playing with it normally, not doing anything crazy, not, just regular playing, going around, and I was using this left trigger a lot. Or no, apparently it's the right trigger. You see the left trigger springs back, the right one, not so much. I don't know if you can actually even see that. So I can lift it back up. So I had the idea, I'll see if I can fix it. Opened it up. Was finally able to get it apart. There was 8 screws on the bottom of it, pop off the back, and finally get over to where I can see down over here where the trigger assembly is. And it's got a little spring, and it's just wedged in there, and so the spring pushes the trigger back up so that it doesn't stay down, it pops up. Like that one's staying down now. You can tell this one's sticking up higher because that one's popping up, that one's not. I looked around to see if I could find a replacement spring, but everything was showing a standard Xbox Series controller spring replacement, and this one was enough different that it didn't look like it would work. So going through, taking it apart, moving things around. It's got rumble in it, so and unfortunately these ones are soldered directly to the board, so I'd have had to get out the soldering iron and desolder them, which maybe I should have done in hindsight, because I broke the controller. More so. In between finagling, trying to pull stuff off, and different things. The D-pad has a little 4 or 5 pins, I don't remember how many, receiver on the board, and there's another board that you just slide into it. And I didn't know it, but in my finagling and fidgeting and moving stuff around trying to get to the spring for this trigger, I bent one of those, and I was like, okay, I need to stop. I need to find a pair of needle nose pliers or something so that I can straighten it out, get it in position. Well, did that, and when the final trying to position it and put it into place, I could feel it give a little bit too much, and I was like, oh, that little pin just broke. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna be super careful, see if I can put it on there, get it so it slides in. As long as it stays connected, it should be all right. Needless to say, it wasn't. It didn't stay put. It fell off while I was trying to get it to attach to the other PCB. So I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and I'll put it back together, see what works, what doesn't. And in the midst of that, I didn't realize that the start or menu button, whatever they're calling it now, fell out. I hadn't fully assembled it when I noticed that, but I was like, you know what? I'll see what works, and then if the controller works and is usable, then I'll worry about taking it back apart. And actually, I didn't find this until after I decided what to do with this, which was this is going in the garbage. I actually retrieved it from the garbage to make the video, because when I plugged in the controller, tested it out, the buttons didn't work. The D-pads worked, but A was auto-firing. Not something that you want in a controller unless you're playing a shooter and A is the main button. So, this one is broken. It's broken. First, that trigger broke. This trigger broke over here. This one, the right trigger broke. Not the end of the world. I probably could have found some use for it for some games, as long as you didn't need the right trigger. So no first-person shooters or anything. But yeah, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll look into it, see if I can fix it. Because do you really want a controller around where something like a trigger doesn't work? That is pretty much one of the main buttons for a lot of games. But if I had another one of these, I think I could fix it without breaking it. But because of the trigger issue and not being able to find a replacement spring, and as well as breaking off that pin, and mainly that pin, I think it might have been okay if that pin hadn't broken. But so the D-pad wasn't working, and then that I didn't go through and trace any of the traces or anything, so I don't know how or if anything else connected into that D-pad, because the D-pad was just a little round sphere over here, and it had the little pins or the holes on the side for the pins to go in. A ribbon cable, I think, would have been a lot better, because then you could detach it and reattach it as needed. You don't have to worry about trying to line things up, because these triggers have little bars coming out and then a little receiver bar on the other side, and that's how they recognize how far you're pulling them down. But this is going in the trash. Is there anything that you're holding on to that you're going to get around to fixing, and maybe it's time to just let it go in the trash, or maybe you take it to a local shop, or you just sell it off as is, for repair? But as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, well, I could do this with it. I could pop out the buttons. I could hold on to those. I could do something with all of this, that, and the other. And I was like, you know what? No. It's a third-party wired controller. Not that great. I don't think it was that expensive either. I think it was like $20 several years ago when I bought it for the Xbox One. I did take the dongle off because that could possibly be useful for another wired controller, whether 360 or a series controller, because I do plan on trying to find another wired controller, one that lights up, because the missus and the munch can really enjoy it swapping colors around. And I don't know if y'all would agree, but it's nice to have a wired controller around so you can just plug it in and play. You don't have to worry about running off and finding batteries every week or two, depending on how much you're playing. If you're playing enough to swap them out 2 or 3 times a week, that might be a little bit too much. This one broke in multiple ways. There's not really anything to save from it, and even if there was, I don't know if I would. There's just so much wrong with it, and I don't think it's worth holding on to it anymore. But now I'm thinking about, I could save the buttons. Those won't take up much space, so I might take it apart and pull those out. But outside of that, that would be all that I would keep from it. The menu and back, or the start and back buttons, not worth holding on to. But do you have anything hanging around in your collection that you're gonna get around to eventually and try to fix or repair? And if you actually think about it, it's like, that's probably not gonna happen. But this is mine. This is going in the trash. And I think I'm gonna keep the A, B, X, and Y buttons, and that's it. Everything else is going. Those won't take up much space. I can probably fit them in this little screwdriver case that I've got a bunch of extra screws hanging around in. Yeah, hope everyone has Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. But everybody, take care, have fun, be kind to one another, stay safe, keep it retro or 360. God bless, and we'll catch you all later. And think, to repair or not to repair? That is the question. But is it really? Is it nobler to just take it and throw it in the trash? Yes it is, because it's taking up space and it's not needed, and it can go bye-bye now. Bye. Small addendum, I just finished running the controller out to the trash. Tomorrow's trash day. And I decided to keep the rumble motors I didn't realize until I pulled them out. They got different weights on them, so even if they both were going at the same time, it's they're not going to cancel each other out. But I figured I can just hold it, hook them up to a charge, and I'll have some rumble motors if I needed them. But I did keep the A, B, X, and the Y buttons, as well as the, oh, that's not it, the X button, and then the screws that I pulled out of the controller to get that stuff out. I decided to keep those just in case I might need them for something. Probably need to start putting them in a little container, but so that's what I kept from it. I thought about keeping the wire that comes out of the controller because it's got that dongle attachment, but then it's like I've got some 360 wireless or wired controllers already, and I just don't think it'd be worth keeping around and having to fight that. So that's it. It's gone. Be picked up tomorrow and unfortunately taken to the landfill because I don't know what else to do with it. But that's it.